What's up, Internet Land? Zekim's Prime, aka Zekim's Prime, here with another Transformers third-party Legend Scale review, and as they say, third time is the charm. This is my third time shooting this, not your third time watching this, thankfully. Up for review today is the Magic Square Pit Lord. And yes, Pit Lord. So, I have had this long-running internal and sometimes external debate about which Optimus Prime figure I should get, because I did have the DX9 Dutch, and then I upgraded to the Magic Square Light of Justice. And then I later decided, oh, how should I upgrade this? And then both New Age and Magic Square were throwing out options. And ultimately I went like so, because I really like the premium look of the New Age one, but I really liked the engineering of the Magic Square one, and I didn't want to miss out with it. My biggest issue with the Magic Square figure is that Magic Square uses this kind of like weird vinyl-y plastic that's kind of soft and lends to what I refer to as Magic Square's patented soft tab engineering. And but it has this this optical subsurface scattering property to it, which makes it look kind of like almost a little translucent, almost a little waxy. And I don't really like the look of that. Now, this being cast primarily in black plastic, the black plastic is much more opaque and does not have any of that waxy look to it, and anything that's not black is basically painted, again, which does not have that translucent look to it. So I like this option. Ultimately, if I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, I actually prefer the sculpt proportions and engineering of this figure. I would have preferred if Magic Square had made this figure, because the soft tab engineering doesn't do something this complex any favors, and being fully painted would have looked really nice on this. And you know, New Age is very good about dialing in their tolerances, and Magic Square just isn't as good on that. But anyhow, let's get into the accessories. And he comes with an absolute just pile of accessories. First and foremost, let's take a look at his gun. His gun is molded all in one piece of black plastic. It's molded fairly well, only some very minor mold defects and some like flash that's coming around the outside of this this like vent cavity in here. I get a little bit of flash on both sides actually. He's got a handle and he holds it in his hand just nicely, like so. The proportions of this gun are really like long compared to a lot of these other Optimi. Which, being a Nemesis Prime, makes him look a little more intimidating. I know that this is the same proportions of the gun for the red, white, and blue version, so I guess that one looks intimidating too, but I don't know. Intimidating just seems to be Nemesis's bag more than Optimus's is. He comes with an Energon axe. This is, I don't know what it's cast in, probably white plastic if I had to guess, but it's painted entirely in this metallic green. There is some of that mold defect on here, so I've mentioned several times that all plastic really needs to be hollow. If you don't have it hollow, then as it cools, it will introduce mold defects, and that is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. That part just got sucked in as the plastic was cooling. Plus, there's just some gnarly sprue marks on this. But swapping this out is the same as swapping out one of his hands. You just kind of open up this thing here, pull this out by the ball joint, attach this in, close that up, and now he has an axe for a hand. And he can chop, choppity chop, chop, which is fantastic. I mean, it's as expected. You know, you got to be able to do that one scene from that one show. In terms of hands, actually, let's talk about his head for a moment. He does come with an alternate head. The alternate head looks super cool, with like battle damage and all like gnarled up and whatnot. I can't seem to pull his head off to like actually swap it out. I'm not sure what the problem is. I don't want to break anything or just like tear off the whole freaking ball joint, so I'm not going to really mess with it too much, but we'll put it like that. Maybe we'll even put it like that, and you can be like, yeah, that's what it looks like. And it looks pretty cool. He does come with an alternate set of smokestacks. Now, these smokestacks are designed so that they can be, that they're adjustable. So you have them long like this when you're in robot mode, or sorry, when you're in vehicle mode. But in robot mode, you compress them down. And they work fairly well. The tolerances on them are... I get the feeling that they tolerance these for unpainted plastic and then painted them. And so the tolerances are just extremely tight. And they don't seem that fun to use, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I'm not going to be swapping out my current set of smokestacks. He also comes with a whole bunch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra pairs of hands. And I'm not going to swap them all in, but I'll throw a couple of them in just to show you. He comes with a pair of fists. The fists have got holes in them. They will hold his gun quite nicely. Slightly more tightly than the default Magic Square hands. These fists, you can, I believe... I haven't actually tried to do this. Yeah, I'm pretty certain you can transform it with these fists in. These are the only other hands that you can transform the figure with them being in. All these other hands need to be swapped back out before you transform it. He comes with a pair of pointing hands for if he needs to, you know, point out his local Popeye's chicken, or, you know, bark orders at somebody or whatnot. He comes with a pair of open, splayed out hands that are kind of in a unique... They look like he's pressing up against something, maybe pressing against the ground, maybe pressing against the surface, maybe, I don't know what exactly. They do look like they're being pressed against something, so you could even probably have them be, I don't know, maybe have them be hands on his hips kind of hands, though there's another set of hands that I think works better for that. He comes with a pair of karate chop hands. Not sure exactly what you need these ones for. I guess if you need to, like, chop something. Or maybe snap off a salute. He comes with a pair of gropey hands. I don't know what other better way to describe this. They are gropey hands. Like he is just grabbing the world. I'm not even going to speculate on that one. And then he comes with a set of these other splayed out hands. These are kind of swanky looking. And they have more posability of all of these other hands because they're actually two parts. So they're this ball joint that everything else has. But then they also have a hinge here, allowing for some more, like, stuff. I don't know. Use your imagination. But yeah, all of them are on ball joints. All these extra hands come on a big old sprue, and you cut them off yourself, so be careful. Also, keep in mind that they had a lot of flash on them, which I had to clean off. I actually had to clean off flash and sprue marks from a lot of places on this figure, because while their engineering is great, their execution of that engineering has never been phenomenal. This is an indicative thing with Magic Square as a whole. That's actually the whole reason why I ended up going with the New Age Devastator. I really liked the look of the Magic Square Devastator, but when I got the first set in my hands, I was just so dissatisfied that I dumped them out and bought the entire New Age set all at once, actually. But anyhow, let's get into his articulation. Oh, he does have one other accessory, but I'll talk about this when we get to robot mode, vehicle mode, when we get to vehicle mode. So his head is on a ball joint. It will look down. It will look up all the way. It will rotate freely. His arm is on a nice little butterfly joint. I love it when people engineer in butterfly joints, especially if it's a semi-functional one. I mean, ideally, it would have been nice if it had more range, but I'm thankful for the amount of range that they have, and I see fully why they couldn't have put more in. It would have been more complex than this size of a figure could really manage. His arm goes up for like 150% of a tree pose. That's very nice, and it's... I'm not entirely certain if it's stopped by that smokestack or if it's stopped by the sculpt of it. I think it's stopped by both, really. They both kind of stop at the same point. Arm goes all the way around. He's got a bicep swivel, single joint elbow for well over 90 degrees of bend. That's very nice. As I mentioned, the ball joint at the wrist on these default hands, they don't really get anything except for rotation. On one of these other ball joint hands that has like a little bit of an extension off of that, then you can get a little bit of motion running around that ball joint. He's got a waist joint, swivels about just fine. He also has the same sort of extension on the waist as the Light of Justice had, so you can give him an ab crunch that bends a lot forward, or you can bend it a lot back. Keep in mind that either way you go, you will break that sculpt, so be careful on how you display it when you have it posed in such a way. By the way, from the back, look at how clean that is. I really like that. This really is an impressive figure in a lot of ways. He's got a ball joint on the side skirt here. Sorry, not a ball joint. He's got a side skirt armor here. And you flip that up out of the way. His leg is on a joint that moves independent of that skirt armor, but when it moves far enough forward to interact with that skirt armor, that whole thing kind of just sucks in. And so you get a lot of range without being interrupted by that armor. Now I do have issues with it when you move it out of position and then getting that little side skirt armor to sneak in back behind that front skirt armor. It's not always the easiest thing. He's got an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee for the full bend, very nice. Pretty much no real, I mean, his foot is technically on a ball joint, but when you've got his foot in a foot position, it's got no real up and down. Now, if you bend the toe and bend the heel, then you can get some up and down out of it. But other than that, no, not really. You can get some side to side and tilt. So the ball joint still does its job. It just doesn't get you forward and back motion. The toes will take care of that, really. And I mean, you get lots of tilt on that toe. And that's it for the posability. Now, transformation on this guy is a little complex. And the soft tab engineering doesn't really do this any favors. I love the engineering. I don't like their execution of it, if you may understand my difference that I'm getting at. So, first thing we want to do is come back to the back. We want to disconnect this backpack section here, and then disconnect this backpack section here, and that's all going to come out of this double hinge, or this little armature thing. Then we're going to come around to the front. We're going to open up his chest, like he's getting ready to light our darkest hour. Because the next thing we're doing is we're doing this side section here, and opening up the chest is the next step. You want to kind of wiggle this part out. Actually, let's bring all this waist up. Wiggle this chest part out so that you bend it down. Rotate this around. And there's a very important thing that I want to point out, which is this whole section slides down. And you want to get that to slide down. That'll give you the space you need to work in here. And that's really important, actually. It's a subtle thing, but an important thing. So we're going to do the same for the other side. Bring this out. Slide that all down. Come on, slide down. There we go. And then this is going to rotate around, and we're just going to park these right here for now. We're going to grab his front grille and pull this out. It comes out on this little post. We're going to pull that out as far as we can, rotate it around, rotate this around, and this is just kind of hang out here. A lot of parts are going to come out and hang out until we're ready to put them in, until we're ready to put them home. It's an unfortunate thing about this, but it is a thing about this. So for the head, that seems significant to me. So for the head, we are going to tilt the head all the way back and then fold it flush back here. This part here, we're going to slide this straight up and then fold this, we're going to slide this up and then rotate these chest parts around the windows and then fold this down. And next we're going to move on to the arms. So the arms are going to, we're going to open up this section here just like we're going to take off his hand, except instead we're going to fold his hand in. This underarm panel is on like a double hinge. We're going to hinge this back to the back, and then we're going to leave it as it is by rotating the bicep and then folding it up. There's a side joint behind the bicep, and we're just going to fold this, keep on rotating that around until the bicep kind of sits like so. Let me do this with the other one. Hopefully maybe not get my fingers as much in the way this time. So we're going to open up this panel here, double join this back, fold the fist into the forearm. There's a joint here. See, here's the front of the arm here, and there's this joint that folds sideways. What's going to happen is that this bicep swivel is going to come around pretty much 180 degrees, and we're going to rotate it on that transformation joint and slide this panel all the way back. It will tab into his arm and sit quite nicely. And then you got to start, putting things home. So this arm is going to kind of sit inside here. You want to fold up this part here, it comes out, and then this piece folds up. This is all weirdly complicated. You've got this piece here that's going to come over these smokestacks, and there's really no easy way to do it. You just have to bend stuff out of the way. That comes up and around. And what you want to do is you want to get this to snag in over the shoulders. And this is like prime soft tab engineering right here. Where, yeah, there's no real way for it to fit, so you just kind of like shove things out of the way. And because they're made out of soft plastic, they will move. But if it was made out of a more sensible plastic, they wouldn't move at all, and you'd have issues. You do need to put the windows in before you tab that in fully. And then you kind of got to like thread this middle section of in between the windows. It needs to come in there, and it tabs in. And it's kind of a pain in the ass to put in, but it's even more of a pain in the ass to take out when you're transforming back into robot mode. All right, I'm going to take the sides here and fold them in. Tab all that in. This one I'm going to do the same with. Unfold these parts here. Uh-oh, am I having an issue with this? I haven't actually tried transforming it with these alternate fists. I suspected that they would work, but I'm experimenting live. I don't like the way they're working. I'm going to swap this back out for his regular fist. Funny, because I swapped out the other side too, and that seems to be working fine. So, I don't know what the story is on this side. You would think that the issues would be the same if that was actually the issue. But it does seem to be working a lot better now, so I'm just going to keep rolling with it. Bring this up into place. And then we're going to line up this bumper section and just slide it in home. And then for this section here on the back, we're going to rotate that, flip up this panel here, fold these parts in on the side. They are actually going to sneak into these little cavities here on the side. And you've got a couple tabs here that are going to fit into slots on the shoulders. And there you go. Now you've got Truckman. Any Optimus Prime that can pull off the Truckman pose is automatically a good one in my book. All right. So, for the legs, we're going to start with turning his butt around. Oh, I didn't have that. I had that flap folded in for the robot mode, and I should have had it folded out, because it does fold in for the vehicle mode, because the butt flap actually tabs into that once I get that all put together. So for the legs, what you want to do is unplug this panel right here and unplug this panel. Well, let's rotate this fuel tank up. Then unplug this panel right here, and that disconnects all of this back here. And then kind of, you're going to kind of, there's like a double joint thing that this does. There we go. There's the double joint thing that this kind of does. Then we're going to take this part here, fold that in, fold this on top of it, and leave this here for now. This part's going to unfold and unfold. It's on these little like offset joints. So as it unfolds, it kind of straightens itself out. When it's folded up, it's all like rotated in. It's kind of a clever little piece of engineering. This is going to slide out and rotate around. And then for your toe, let me see if I remember how exactly this toe goes. I believe you want to rotate this around and then rotate the heel in and then collapse the toe in such a way. Well, let's finish transforming this leg first. So we're going to collapse this leg all the way in as much as it'll go. Plug the butt into that little slot there. Plug this slot into there. And then figure out how this toe goes. I just sworn I had this figured out just the other moment. Oh yeah. The toe gets folded up like that, and then the heel goes over the outside of the toe. Here I'm thinking that I needed to put the toe on the outside. Alright, so then we'll just do all of that for the other leg, and we're good. So gas cap, unplug this, bring that up, kind of double joint all of this internal junk out. Like so. Bring this around, fold up the toe with the heel over, extend out this guy and then that guy, and then slide this out, rotate this around, and then you just kind of start pegging things together. You got a tab in here that goes into. Tabs in here. There's a number of tabs that it's all supposed to fit together, but like it all only kind of fits together. It is weird. Because even though I'm pretty certain I have it all in the right place, like it doesn't really feel like it's in the right place. I think that's probably about as good as I'm going to get it right now. So, there he is in his vehicle mode. Now, this version here does not come with a trailer. So, A, that makes it cheaper than the full version. And B, that makes it, I don't know what else I can tell you. It's cheaper. It's cheaper, and you don't have an accessory that looks cool, but isn't really needed. You can put a trailer hitch on it, though. And you got just a couple little slots here. And these pegs tab into that. It also has the added bonus of maybe keeping his legs a little tighter together if you're having issues with that. He lines up fairly well, rolls. It definitely feels like it's rubbing a bit on the bottom. Rubber tires, so either that's really cool or it's going to be really bad in a few years. I don't even know yet. I haven't had this one long enough. But it looks good. The red windows look good. The like silver paint apps and the teal on it looks good. The black plastic looks good. I still... Basically, my overall view of this figure is when Magic Square announced this guy, they announced a Masterpiece scale version of that as well. And I think that this figure could really benefit from a Masterpiece scale version. And that is really the hill that I'm willing to die on for this figure specifically. But all in all, I think it's pretty decent. I personally don't know that I would recommend it over the New Age one, which, yes, the New Age one does also have its own share of issues, but like, while it may have some sketchy design choices in places, at least all of its design choices are executed well, whereas this one has good design choices, but they're executed poorly. And honestly, I think that a well done, poorly designed figure is better than a poorly done, well designed figure. But that's just me. That's just my engineering critique. I am happy with where I'm at with this one being the Nemesis and that one being the red one. Maybe you're the type of person who likes to have multiple red primes. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to sell this one simply because I've got the New Age one. I haven't decided all that stuff yet. All in all, I do recommend this figure. I think that it's well engineered and well designed. I wish that someone other than Magic Square had made it. That's all I really have to say about that. But thanks everybody for watching. You guys are fantastic. Everybody stay awesome and be good to each other. See ya.